Okay, it's been a really good week. Seems to have gone extremely fast, but as I just told the players, I've been very pleased with them. They've done everything we've asked them to do. We've had a gorgeous week of weather, and so it's been really good practices. Guys have been very dialed in, very motivated, and seem to be in really good spirits. And so we're anxious to get going tomorrow, get on that plane and head that way.
You said a few times in the past you'd rather say whoa than giddy up, essentially. Do you feel like that's kind of where this team is right now, after coming off 2 big wins, maybe the confidence?
I feel like this team is in a good spot, and until they prove me otherwise, they're in a good spot of just taking care of business. Much like I've talked about, just do the things you need to do day to day to put yourself in a position to be successful. I challenged them just to get some treatment, get some rest, get some sleep. Watch a little extra film. Just do whatever they can do to put themselves in the best position. Anytime you go on the road, it takes a little extra. It takes a little out of you just to travel and in Atlanta and getting on the near side towards Athens, and just it's not the simplest of travel. So we have to try to sacrifice a little bit during the week and really make sure we're rested up.
How's Darian look this week after he kind of took that blow there?
Yeah, he's really done a good job. We've been very cautious with him, and he's definitely not 100%. So really appreciate Darian giving it everything he can, and I know he will. I really greatly appreciate Darian. Last week it would have been very easy, with a person, that the future that he has when you do get a legitimate injury and get hurt. I mean, he was hurting. Different between injured. We would never let him play injured, but it was definitely one of those things where it hurts. And so he's really fought through that last week, and he's fought through it the best this week, and really appreciate him and the sacrifice that he's making for the team.
Mark, everybody I've talked to thinks that this is going to be a low-scoring game, a defensive struggle. Does that change the way that you game plan throughout the week at all?
No, I just never know how things are going to go. I mean, nobody knows. That's why we play the game. That's what makes it so fun and exciting, is we just can't anticipate the things that are happening. Every game's different, so we'll see how it goes and adapt and try to adapt and overcome like we always do.
Yeah, I think it was Mike Tyson who said everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. How important are adjustments to your team? Because Georgia's going to come out and they're going to want to punch you in the mouth.
Well, there's no doubt, but I think you've seen us take a punch and regroup and throw one back. So I spent some time with Iron Mike, and I went at it with him pretty good. I think I could have lasted 10 seconds.
When as good as your defense has been, I think Brad's getting some more national attention. How have you seen him grow as a coordinator over the last
year? Brad deserves all the attention that he gets, because I think it's hard sometimes on defensive coordinators. They don't get people appreciate them when they're around them at your school, but nationally they don't always get the respect that they deserve. But Brad's done a remarkable job, and it's really nice for me. Because as we win games and doing all this thing, you get distracted. You just have more to do. But I have 100% faith and confidence in Brad and John and Chris and Frank. They just do a great job, and so just greatly appreciate them. And he's done a really good job, and especially with the way we play. I feel like he's gotten our guys to play above their capabilities, and that's always what you're looking for, to play as hard as they possibly can, be a fundamentally well-coached team. And so really appreciate our coaches and what they've done to this point.
Mark, we guys over here and you yourself have talked up this Georgia defense quite a bit. Do you sense anything about your guys this week that wants to show we belong in that conversation?
I don't know if we need that. To the first 6 games, we haven't needed that to motivate us. And so whatever, like I always say to those kind of answers, I don't know. I'm not using that. If our players want to individually, whatever they need to do to motivate them. But we take pride in what we do and the way we play each and every week, no matter what people say. And so it's just a matter of keeping that consistency going, because to this point they've certainly played hard. and that's what we got to continue to do.
How about Liam? I mean, the guy goes to the Rams, they win the Super Bowl, he comes here, we're 6-0. You think he realizes how difficult this game is?
He knows how difficult it is. I had to send him to go get an IV and pick himself up a little bit yesterday. I'm like, bro, this isn't the NFL, this is the SEC. And I'm like, so he was beat down, and I'm like, go get an IV, pick yourself back up. He's feeling much better, and is working really hard. But this season beats anybody down, especially play callers.
You mentioned Monday that Flax was not available against LSU. Was that a discipline issue?
It was. He's back. He's here. He's ready to go.
How has he responded this week?
Good.
More of an X and O question, but reading about the Georgia defense, one story I read focused on that they use a creeper.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly is a creeper?
Yeah, so we've been doing it for years. I don't necessarily, we don't call it a creeper, but it's a simulated pressure. So you're bringing guys that looks like, so from the same look, it could look like you're bringing 4, 5, 6, and you're bringing from one side or the other, and replacement blitzes. So a simulated or a creeper, a lot of times defensive guys would term that by just bringing 4. It's just a different 4, not just the 4 that line up right in front of you. So that's a simulated pressure. So if you start bringing 5, now it's pressure. Bringing 6, it's more of a pressure. Bringing 7, you're bringing the house.
Have you seen that? Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
You seen that from Georgia?
Yeah.
Actively using that?
Yeah, it is, and we've been doing it for probably 5 years. Matt and I, DJ and I, started with some simulateds, and Matt and I and Brad's used them, and so we've been doing that.
Marcus, McClain, Smoke, Rodriguez, three-headed monster. How have they kind of assimilated into their roles this week during practice?
They're great. I mean, all the guys are ready. They've been very unselfish, and you have different skill sets, but yet we could run the same offense with any of them. So confident in all of them.
You mentioned DJ. I mean, you had Eddie back, and now we saw DJ. Elliott. What message should we take from that? Is there something you're trying to?
No, right? I mean, DJ's been here before you saw him. DJ came and spent 3 days with me or so during camp and watching football, or maybe more. I don't remember, but stayed at the house with me and watched film and studied football and spent time with each other. And prayers for his daughter is fighting a really difficult time right now, and so just because they don't work here anymore don't mean they're not friends with me still.
Yeah, you're a loyalty kind of guy.
Yeah, that's I'd like to believe so.
In 2018, I mean, there was some similar situations as far as both teams coming in with a lot of hype. Does this feel different for you now just because of the maturity of not only the team, but you've been in it a couple more years? Do you have a different feel or the same?
It feels different because it just is different. I don't like to put comparisons on because I have great admiration for that team that we had. And I like this team. And we're right in the middle of it. So it's definitely different. I don't really necessarily want to try to compare it.
How the guys along the defensive line that have had to step in and step up, how have they kind of responded to added duties there?
They're going to have to. We're going to have to. All those guys. Boule's really got to step up. Justin, Josiah, Trayvon Ripka, all those guys have just got to play at a higher level. Khalil, has got to get some snaps, and that's tough sledding for a freshman against these guys, but he has to. We need to get some. So I anticipate they're going to play hard and step up and play well.
When you mentioned after he played against Florida, like a true freshman, Khalil, how did he respond to that? After
I don't care. It just. I'm not worried about. He knows. Goes with the territory. You're going to get, critiqued and coached and evaluated, and you need to play better. But that's not a surprise. That's no slap on him. That's. I need to get better. We all need to get better. The best we can, and try to improve every day. So I don't think it affected him one bit.
The quarterback situation there at Georgia, Stetson Bennett or JT Daniels, do you guys prepare for both the same way? Depending on,
yeah, same way. Very, very, very similar. Obviously Stetson maybe a few more design runs, or he could pull it a little bit more. And but both really good players, and both are going to run this very similar offense.
There was so much hype earlier in the week, obviously, for this game. What have you liked about how your team has kind of settled into the week and really just preparing like?
Yeah, just like I said, I think I like the past couple weeks the way it's been business as usual, just kind of very business-like, doing what we need to do each week. That's all, that we can control. And I've been putting a lot of pressure on them to just try to sacrifice a little bit as far as getting their sleep. And they're college students. They have studying, they have friends, they have people, wherever they're staying, you know what I mean? They're keeping them up, but it's like they have to sacrifice, get some sleep so they can get here and be very attentive. That's the only thing I've really pushed, is just do the best they can as far as that goes. So we're prepared. We're ultimately prepared every day. And even tonight's a big sleep night. They need to be getting some rest and get off their feet. And we have travel tomorrow, and so there's something unique and challenging and fun in a way to go into a hostile environment and get on the road. We've been home 5 out of 6 weeks, and as I told the players, we all have distractions when that happens. We all have people in that we want to see, spend time with. They have family in town. They get pulled in a lot of directions. There's been a lot of media, but we have to separate that, and they've done a good job of separating that. Now it's having a strong mindset, getting on the plane and on buses to go to Athens and to play the number 1 team in the country. So you better be prepared and focused on what you got to do and rest it up. And so I've really pushed hard on that all week, and it feels like they have, because they've had really good energy in practice.
Thanks, folks. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.